Sorry, guys. Hey, um, apologize for not being able to be there today. I'm going to go through working several of these special right triangle problems from the homework yesterday. I know there were a few that you guys had questions on and wanted me to go over. So I'm going to go over several of those right here on this video so that you have the information and that you can know and understand how to do these fairly well, because we need to know and understand how to these special right triangles especially are important. So let's work number 6 first. Okay, so number 6 right here is one of our 45, 45, 90 right triangles, and it gives us our hypotenuse, which is opposite of the right triangle, right angle. All right, so I've got 2 square root of 6, and that is my hypotenuse. Okay, so remember, anytime we're given a 45-degree angle in a right triangle, it is our special 1, 1 square root of 2, which means the legs are the same value, and then the hypotenuse is the square root of 2 times the leg values. All right, so that means if they give me a leg, I'm going to multiply that leg times the square root of 2 to find the hypotenuse. However, if they give me the hypotenuse, that means I divide the hypotenuse value by the square root of 2 in order to find the leg length. Okay, so all I have to do to find the leg length of a 45, 45, 90 right triangle whenever I'm given the hypotenuse is divide whatever value they give me for the hypotenuse by the square root of 2, and that gives me both of the other values. Okay, so as you can see, my triangle has a hypotenuse value of 2 square root of 6. Okay, so all I have to do is divide 2 square root of 6 divided by the square root of 2. Because again, the leg is the square root of 2 divided by the hypotenuse, or the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. So the rules for square roots, just a little review, is I can divide whatever is outside the square root by what's outside, or I can also divide whatever is inside the square root by whatever is inside. So I can actually divide the 6 by the 2 because they're both in the square root form. I can't divide 2 by the square root of 2 because one's outside and one's inside, but I can divide anything that is either if they're both outside or both inside. All right, so that means when I divide 2 square roots of 6 divided by the square root of 2, that's equal to 2 square roots of 3. So that means both of these legs are 2 square roots of 3. All right, pretty straightforward. Okay, so anytime I'm given the leg, I'm just multiplying the square root of 2 times that. If I'm multiplying, let's say it gives me the square root of 6 as the leg, well then I would have the square root of 12, and I can actually simplify the square root of 12, and so on and so forth. All right? So that is how that one goes. Let's flip the page over, and let's look at number 10. I believe that was one that Megan was saying that she didn't understand yesterday, so I want to make sure I make Megan happy, because if Megan's not happy, ain't nobody happy, right? All right, so that gives me, it is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. All right, so I've got my right angle here. It gives me the hypotenuse of 8 square roots of 5, and it gives me the 60-degree angle right here. All right, so remember, with these triangles, the short leg is always adjacent to the 60 or opposite the 30-degree angle. Okay, and they gave me the hypotenuse, and so I'm always looking for the short leg when I have the 30, 60, 90 right triangle, because that's the 1, because this is a 1, 2 square root of 3. All right, so if the hypotenuse is 8 square roots of 5, then my short leg is going to be half of that. Hi, my wife just walked in. Everybody say hi, Byron. Hi. All right, so that means the short leg right here is going to be half of my hypotenuse. And again, we just talked about, if I have 8 square roots of 5, and I'm dividing that by 2. Again, I cannot divide the square root of 5 by 2 because the square root of 5 is under the square root and the 2 is not. But I can divide what is outside by what is outside the square root. So the short leg is actually 4 square roots of 5 because it is half the size of the hypotenuse. So if the hypotenuse is 8 square roots of 5, then the short leg is going to be 4 square roots of 5. All right? And then just like that, to find the long leg, it's the square root of 3 times the short leg. So that means I have 4 square roots of 4 square roots of 5. I'm getting ahead of myself. Times the square root of 3. Multiplication is just like division. I can't multiply 4 times the square root of 3, but I can multiply the square root of 5 times the square root of 3 to get 4 square roots of 15. And there is no perfect square, there is no perfect square that divides out of 15. So I can't simplify the square root of 15 at all. So that's what I'm left with. So the missing legs, the short leg that's adjacent to the 60-degree angle is 4 square roots of 5. The long leg that is opposite the 60-degree angle and adjacent to the 30-degree angle is going to be 4 square roots of 15. All right, so just going back to dealing with my square roots. Let's do one more, and then I'll leave you be so that you can finish doing these problems. Let's do number, what's a good one? We'll do number 17 and 18. All right, so 17 is another 30, 60, 90. And I've got my 60 degree down at the bottom, so that means my 30 degree is right here. So it gives me the hypotenuse is 2 square roots of 2, and then the long leg is A, and the short leg is B. All right, so again, short leg, it gives me the hypotenuse. Short leg is 1/2 of the hypotenuse. So what would half of 2 square roots of 2 be? It would just be B is going to be 1 square root of 2. All right, and then A is going to be this value, the short leg, times the square root of 3. So that means I have the square root of 2 times the square root of 3. Again, I can multiply what's inside the radical times what's inside the radical, and that leaves me with the square root of 6. All right? All right, last one. We have one more 45, 45, 90, or a 1, 1 square root of 2 triangle. And it gives me this triangle right here, where my right angle is down here in the corner. I've got 45. That's a terrible 45, 45, 90 triangle, but we're just going to go with it because I'm tired. All right, so the hypotenuse they give me is 7. And then they give me M and N, or backwards, M and N. All right, so again, anytime I'm given the hypotenuse, that means I have to divide by the square root of 2. And this is a case where when I have to divide by the square root of 2, I cannot have the square root of 2 in the denominator. Okay, so that means I have to multiply square root of 2 over the square root of 2. 7 times the square root of 2 is just 7 square roots of 2. However, square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 2 squared, which is just 2. So both of my legs would end up being 7 square roots of 2 divided by 2. All right, so both M and N would be 7 square roots of 2 over 2. Hopefully that answers most of your questions, most of the difficult questions. Remember, this is just getting into the habit of dividing by radicals, multiplying by radicals, and getting to the habit of knowing my special 30, 60, 90 right triangles. Also, tomorrow what we're going to do is I'm going to work on getting a worksheet that is similar to this one. However, the angles are going to be in radians instead of degrees. Now, they're all going to be the radian measures that we have on our unit circle handout that we did on Monday. So that means it's still going to be 45, 45, 90 right triangles and 30, 60, 90, or 1, 1 square root of 2 and 1, 2 square root of 3. We're just going to have the radian measures, so it's going to be pi over 6 or pi over 4 or pi over 3 instead of 40, 30, and 60, or 45, 30, and 60 as your degree measures. So hopefully we'll get used to going back and forth. Which one is pi over 3, which one is pi over 6. Pi over 4 is always the 45 degrees. So hopefully we'll get used to seeing that and going over that. And then when I get back, we will go back over the unit circle and hopefully reinforce that. So hopefully you're doing well. Please listen to the sub, whoever, if you're in a classroom or if they find a sub, make sure you are doing everything you can to stay busy and not driving the sub crazy, Hunter. If you have any questions, email. I'm home with Isaac. He has the flu, so I will have my laptop, and so I will check my email periodically throughout the day. So if you have any questions, I may not answer them immediately when you send them, but at some point I will get them, and I will respond appropriately and get your questions answered. Have a great day, and hope to see you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.